You were taught early on that being nice was the key to being loved. Keep the peace. Don't upset anyone. Smile even when you're hurting. It worked, sort of. People liked you. You made them comfortable. You were the person who was always easy to be around. But somewhere along the way, you started to disappear. Because being liked is not the same as being loved. Being liked is passive. It means you're acceptable, non-threatening, convenient. Being loved, that requires something deeper, something riskier. And the truth is, people don't fall in love with nice. They fall in love with real, with honest, with someone who takes up space and stands for something. You've made your kindness a performance. You say yes when your body says no. You accommodate until you're depleted. And the worst part? You think this self-erasure is noble. That by shrinking, you're making room for others. But all you're really doing is abandoning yourself. This kind of niceness isn't generosity. It's fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of conflict. Fear of being seen in your full complexity. So you choose the safe path, the agreeable one. And yet there's a growing bitterness inside you. You wonder why people don't choose you deeply, why they don't respect you fully, why your relationships feel shallow, performative, and quietly exhausting. You're tired of being liked. You want to be felt. Real love doesn't grow in the shadows of self-sacrifice. It thrives in the light of emotional honesty. That means owning your boundaries, speaking your needs, being willing to disappoint someone to stay true to yourself. Being good is not about being agreeable. It's about being whole. And you can't be whole if you're always trying to disappear. You think you're being kind, thoughtful, supportive. You listen, you help, you give. But deep down, you're waiting. Waiting to be noticed. Waiting to be appreciated. Waiting for her to give something back. Not because you asked, but because you are so damn good. And when she doesn't, you feel a quiet resentment. You think, after everything I've done, why doesn't she give me what I need? Here's the truth. What you called kindness was never unconditional. It was a silent contract. You gave to get. You softened so she'd stay. You bent so she wouldn't break. And you expected love in return, but only if you stayed small, agreeable, and easy to love. But real love doesn't work like that. It doesn't bloom in manipulation, no matter how subtle. And niceness, when it comes from fear, becomes control in disguise. You don't say what you really want. You hint, you act out, you make sacrifices, and then wait for someone to notice. You're not being honest, you're trying to manage the outcome. And when people don't respond the way you hoped, you feel invisible, used, unloved. But they never agreed to the deal. You just never gave them a choice. True intimacy begins where performance ends. When you stop trying to be the good one. When you say what you want, even if your voice shakes. When you let people see your hunger not as a demand, but as a truth. You don't need to be rescued. You need to be real. Let go of the script. Say what you mean. Stop trying to earn love with self-sacrifice. Because love that has to be earned this way, it never fills you. It only deepens the emptiness. You think being nice makes her feel safe, that she wants you more if you're gentle, available, agreeable. You never push, never lead too much, never let your desire fully show. You stay soft thinking softness equals safety, but she doesn't want safe. She wants to feel you. And what she feels, too often, is a man who's hiding. Hiding behind politeness, behind carefulness, behind a desperate need to be accepted. You make love like you live tentatively. You touch her body the way you touch the world, with hesitation, with self-doubt, with the silent hope that she won't leave. And the more you disappear into being respectful, the more she feels alone. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because she can't feel you in the room. Desire isn't polite. It's not tidy. It doesn't ask for permission to exist. It lives in the body, in your gut, in your spine. It moves through your eyes when you look at her and really see her not as someone you're trying to impress, but as someone you're deeply drawn to. And if you can't connect with that part of yourself, the wild, grounded, unfiltered part, she can't connect to you. She might let you in physically, but emotionally, erotically, spiritually, the lights stay dim. Your niceness in bed is a disguise. It covers your fear. It avoids rejection by avoiding depth. You think attentiveness will make up for what you're too afraid to claim. But she doesn't want you to perform. She wants you to arrive. She wants to feel your presence, not just your technique. She wants you to take the lead, not with dominance, but with clarity. Not with control, but with grounded confidence. Stop trying to be good in bed. Be real. Bring your truth, your desire, your edges, because she's not waiting for perfect. She's waiting for you. You think anger is dangerous, that if you let it show, you'll scare people, lose them, prove you're not lovable. So you bury it. You smile. You nod. You say it's fine when it isn't. You perform calm while your body tenses and your jaw tightens, and something deep inside you starts to rot. But repressed anger doesn't disappear. It just changes form. It becomes sarcasm, withdrawal, passive aggression. It becomes sex without presence, silence after conflict, or resentment dressed up as politeness. You think you're being the better person, but underneath that niceness is rage, and not the explosive kind, but the slow, quiet erosion of your integrity. You betray yourself to keep the peace. But what kind of peace is that if you're the one bleeding? Anger is not the problem. It's a message, a signal, a flare from the part of you that knows when your boundaries are being crossed, when your truth is being ignored, when your needs are going unmet. When you bury that signal, you cut yourself off from your own aliveness. You don't need to yell. You don't need to destroy. But you do need to learn how to feel your anger without shame, to listen to it, to let it inform you, to say something here isn't right, and to act from that knowing, not with violence, but with honesty. Because the alternative is slow emotional death. A life where you're always tolerating, always shrinking, always smiling through the burn. And eventually, people won't know who you are, because you won't either. Let your anger make you honest. Let it burn through the lies you tell to stay comfortable. Let it show you where you've been silenced, not by others, but by yourself. There's nothing noble about emotional self-erasure. Speak your truth. Set your boundaries. And trust that anyone worth loving can handle your fire. You crave closeness, to be seen, to be chosen, to be felt. But every time intimacy approaches, you reach for the mask again, the soft smile, the perfect timing, the agreeable tone. You keep it light, keep it smooth. You offer safety, but never depth. And she feels it, not in what you say, but in what you don't, the things you withhold, the truths you don't speak, the desire you keep folded inside politeness. You think intimacy means being pleasing, but real intimacy demands honesty. And honesty isn't always smooth. She doesn't want to be around someone who's agreeable. She wants to be around someone who's alive, someone who's grounded enough to say what they feel, someone who's strong enough to be seen in their mess, and steady enough to hold space for hers. But you've been taught that being chosen means being easy. So you hide your truth. You don't disagree. You don't take emotional risks. And you wonder why she says she feels alone, even when you're doing everything right. The truth is, she can't connect with a man who hides behind niceness. She needs friction, authenticity, contrast. Someone who can meet her with clarity, not compliance. Someone who can be with her, not manage her. You think being nice is connection, but it's actually disconnection in disguise. Real intimacy begins the moment you stop performing and start revealing. When you say, "This is what I feel. This is what I need. This is where I stand." even if your voice shakes, even if she doesn't like it. Because if she only likes the mask, then you'll never feel truly loved. Drop the performance. Let her feel you. Because intimacy doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. You've spent years trying to be chosen by being nice, by shaping yourself into what you thought others wanted, by keeping the peace even when it cost you yours, by proving your worth through self-sacrifice. And now, finally, you're starting to see it. That nice has kept you lonely. That nice has made you invisible. That nice has buried the parts of you that actually matter. But underneath all of that performance, there's someone else. Someone who doesn't need to be perfect. Someone who doesn't need to be agreeable. Someone who can be soft without surrendering their power, and strong without abandoning their heart. That someone is you, the real you, the one who knows what he feels, the one who doesn't apologize for needing, desiring, fearing, longing, the one who shows up fully, not just when it's safe, but when it matters. When you stop being nice, you stop being predictable. And that's when people start to feel you again. That's when your presence returns. That's when your relationships begin to move, deepen, expand. Not because you're easier to be around, but because you're finally honest. This version of you doesn't chase validation. He earns trust by being true. He invites closeness without collapsing. He holds his edge and his heart at the same time. He doesn't seduce with sweetness. He connects with presence. That's the man who turns her on. That's the man who commands respect. That's the man who builds trust not with charm, but with truth. You don't have to burn down your kindness, but you do have to stop hiding inside it. Let your no be clear. Let your yes be felt. Let your truth live in the room, even if it shakes everything loose. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't need you to be nice. She needs you to be you.